Hey everyone, Tom Bendewald. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking with one of my mentors, Marvin. This was right around the time that the world was going into lockdown mode, before I had uploaded any of these videos. And I was telling him how, due to the change in circumstances, I wanted to start putting my energy into content that folks could experience from home. But there were so many factors to consider. Will it be good enough? What kind of content do I want to produce? Will it even be worth it? And when I finally finished my monologue about not knowing how to start on this project, Marvin responded with the following words: "Paralysis by overanalysis." And this hit me kind of hard because it perfectly encapsulated what I was going through at the time. I was so caught up in worrying about all the little details and whether or not they'd be perfect that it was completely halting my forward motion. I've been talking a lot about action in these videos and how taking action actually increases your motivation, which leads to a positive feedback loop of productivity. So it makes sense that with any given project, starting is going to be the hardest part. Action and motivation have a very real sense of momentum to them. And oftentimes it's difficult to get the ball rolling when it's at a standstill. But once that ball gets rolling, it's much easier to keep it moving. So how do you get started? Well, you already know. I'm gonna let you all in on a little secret. In case you can't already tell, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm not gonna lie, it's scary. It's daunting to set off on a path without knowing what's around every corner. But think of it like a video game, right? You start off completely blind to what you're gonna be facing. And you know before you even start that you're gonna die countless times before you finish this thing. But does that mean you tiptoe around, slowly gaining power-ups, going online and researching what every single obstacle is gonna look like? Do you think an extra life is just gonna show up at your door one day? Heck no! You gotta leave the cave sometime, buddy. Now, that's not to say you should go off into the world with no sword and no information, thinking that you're just gonna defeat the final boss. There's definitely something to be said for reasonable preparation. There's this really cool PDF by Andi Gladwin called Going Pro, and in it he says that before you start on something, just Google the basics. Whenever you come to an obstacle, you can always go back and read more. Find reputable sources that you can learn from, but don't get bogged down by all the little details. You'll learn more on the job than you could ever learn through research alone. It's true that reality doesn't grant us extra lives like a video game does, but at the end of the day, take a look at the risks you're facing and ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Most of the time, you'll see that it's not a life or death situation. And just like in a video game, facing all those small trials and failing is ultimately going to make you stronger and more confident. The late Carrie Fisher said something that I think is really cool. Stay afraid, but do it anyway. What's important is the action. You don't have to wait to be confident. Just do it, and eventually the confidence will follow. Starting is the hardest part. So what are you waiting for?